地球未来人穿越时空，来到他充满好奇的目的地台湾，一切很新奇，也有许多疑惑。一场九时空对话即将展开。
Whoa! And this must be an Earth human!
Hey, it's nice to meet you. What's your name?
Nice to meet you. My name is Teacup. What about you?
I'm Jeff Kinney. I'm the author of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series here on Earth.
Thanks for being in 2024.
I'm excited. Well, tell me how you've been traveling. Where have you been?
Well, I'm from the far future.
Okay.
And I grew up on my spaceship, Jajija.
Sometimes when I'm talking to other people, I just start drawing. Would that be okay for you?
That would be awesome.
Great.
So you're an author and a drawer. Are you like some kind of celebrity or something?
I don't think so, because I think a celebrity, everybody knows who you are. Like they see you on the street and they say, hey, I know you. That's not really my life. I'm a cartoonist. So I sort of hide behind my work. That means I do my work at home or in my studio, and then I put my work out to the world. But the person that is a little bit famous is my character, Greg Heffley. Greg is on the cover of each one of my books, and I have 19 of them so far.
Wow.
But by the time that you get to your age, the far, far future, I will have 3,042,000,000,000 books.
Oh man, that would make you a really big celebrity.
Yeah.
Because people here in 2024 seem to really care about fame, celebrity. It's kind of part of the culture. But I was wondering, because you're kind of famous, would you say that being famous is something to strive for?
I think the best possible thing is that you're famous for doing good. Like if you're doing good and you're getting famous because of that, I think that's good. So that's a good kind of fame.
So a lot of people in Taiwan think that being famous, having a lot of followers, especially online, right? Everyone's seeing their face. Having a hit video on YouTube is a great thing.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Oh gosh, you know, I think it's really kind of fun. If you're a person who's an influencer, right? Then you're filming yourself and you're kind of putting yourself out there, right? And then when somebody sees you on the street, I'll bet it's like kind of cool. Like if somebody said, hey, you're Teacup, you'd be like, yeah. You give them right high five, that's pretty cool. But I'm a different type of person. I am a cartoonist. So I put my work in between me and you, right? And so usually with an influencer, somebody who has a lot of followers, they are the thing that they're handing off. But for me, I'm putting something in between because I'm a little bit shy. So it takes me a lot of work. Now, have you ever heard of something called an introvert or an extrovert?
Not really. Maybe you could explain?
Yeah, so an extrovert is somebody like you, a big personality, you love to talk to other people, and you get your energy from other people, right? So there's something that's the opposite of that, which is called an introvert. An introvert is somebody who's a little bit more shy. And when they talk to other people and interact with other people, sometimes it drains them, almost like a battery, right? Yeah. So a battery that starts off fully charged and then it goes down, 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 right?
What happens when you run out?
When you run out, then you're somebody who's on the floor generation, right? You just need a break, right? So sometimes I just feel like my battery needs to be recharged so I can be the best version of myself.
I was still thinking about the youth of Taiwan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and basically, I wanted to share something that I heard about them. Basically, they are now engaging in relationships entirely online.
Oh, wow.
And very quickly becoming sort of what they call husband and wife, but it's all online.
And they've never met.
They've never met.
True? Wow.
Yeah. So I was wondering, like, do you think, is that a direction that we can pursue?
You know what, it's funny, because I think it's a good way to start. I think it's okay to start that way, because sometimes in the world you meet people and you don't exactly match up with them. And sometimes online it's easier to find other people who are like you or share the same interests as you, right? Like maybe two people like video games, or they like movies, or they like the same rock star. And it's kind of cool to meet up online and you're sort of like at a distance from each other. But then I think it's really special when you actually get to meet. I think people really learned how important it is to talk to each other just like we're talking right now.
Right.
So my son, actually, he's a teenager, and he met a girl online.
Okay.
And for about a year or two, they just talked online. And they saw each other's faces, and they talked to each other. But then guess what? They met. And she's an actress, and he went to see her play. So I think that's a happy story. So I think everybody starts off in a little bit of a different way, but that's a happy story.
And are they still dating now?
They're still dating a year
right.
later, which is pretty cool.
All right.
But I think that there are lots of ways to meet people these days.
Right, right. So it's not necessarily a bad thing
No.
to be only engaging online. It's just about finding the transition or finding the balance.
I think it's important to eventually meet in person.
Okay.
But I think at first it's okay to meet online.
Right. Some of the young people in Taiwan today haven't really moved past what happened during this pandemic that I heard a lot about.
Yeah.
For example, some kids in middle school right now, they're still wearing masks
Wow.
because they don't feel so confident about their appearance.
Yeah.
Do you have any words to share with someone like that?
Well, I think sometimes people wear masks because they're afraid of getting sick, and I understand that. And sometimes they wear masks because they don't want to get other people sick. Maybe they have a little bit of a cold. But yeah, I feel sad that if somebody was wearing a mask to hide their appearance. You know, sometimes I actually wear sunglasses because it's kind of a mask, right? Because it makes me feel like a little bit safe. So I can understand it, but I think it's really important that if you can let other people see your face, that you do, because you see their expressions. Like right now I can see that you're understanding me, or earlier you seemed happy, you know, and so it's really important that you see how I feel right now. So sometimes it's good to take off the mask if you can.
Wow, that's great.
Well, something that's funny is that my characters are really simple. So if you look at Greg, he's got an expression that you can really understand right away, which is a smile. He's almost like an emoji, communicates something really fast. Just by looking at me, you know how I feel right now, and that's important.
So you think this just one line can communicate the same amount of information as this?
Yeah, I think sometimes an emoji is better because it gets the point across really quickly. And I'm gonna skip ahead. Like I'm gonna show you right now how an emoji works.
Okay.
And you know what's funny? All you need are the eyes and the mouth. You don't really need the nose, you don't need eyebrows, you don't need ears, you don't need hair.
You don't need the nose.
No, you don't. To show how somebody's feeling, it's really simple. So I'm gonna show you this, and you're gonna tell me what expression I'm trying to give you. Okay, ready? So here we go.
Oh, that's my favorite expression.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Awkward.
Awkward, yeah. I would say he's awkward. Maybe he's a little bit scared. Well, that's a good
Maybe a
good
little
version
scared
of that.
too, yeah.
Okay, let's do another one here. This one, I'm not sure if they have this in the far, far future. How would this guy be feeling right here?
That's like Noodle.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is he sort of a silly guy?
Kind of silly, like
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, what did I do wrong?
Right, right. I'm gonna do one more here. I'm gonna go without the mouth, and I'm gonna see what you get. Okay, right here.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, you know what's really funny is that I just saw that when you saw this on the page, that you made the face yourself.
Right.
And that's really interesting because how many lines are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, but you know the emotion, which I think is just really interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about wearing the mask or sunglasses is you can't get the information about what the person is feeling like you can even with a circle.
That's
And
right,
some
but
dots.
sometimes if you're wearing a mask, maybe you could tell people how you're feeling with an emoji. Well, I wanted to show you the drawing I did. I hope you like it.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hope I got everything right.
Wow, I wish I looked that good in real life. So in your books, Greg encounters a lot of awkward situations. Could you share an awkward situation from when you were a kid?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you a really embarrassing situation, okay? So one time, and this story is told in this book, one time when I was a little kid, I used to be on the swim team. And so we would swim in a pool every morning, but it was really, really cold in the water. So what I would do is I would ask my swim team coach, I would say, "Coach, can I use the bathroom?" And he'd say, "Okay, go use the bathroom." And so then I'd hide in the bathroom for the whole practice. I'd just sit in the bathroom on the toilet in a stall in the dark, and I'd be shivering, I'd be very, very cold. And so what I did was to keep myself warm. What would you do if you were in that toilet stall?
Jumping jacks?
Jumping jacks?
Yeah.
No, I looked around for something to keep me warm because I didn't have a towel. So I saw the toilet paper. And so I would wrap myself up in the toilet paper to keep myself warm, right? So I think that's a really embarrassing and awkward story, but it's also kind of funny. So I put it into the books, and that's a lot of my stories are based on funny and awkward things that happened to me as a kid.
Wow, that's amazing. No wonder you wrote these books.
Yeah, no wonder.
You were a very special kid.
Yeah, very odd.
I have a few more questions for you, Earth Human.
Yeah.
Back to what Taiwanese kids today,
Yeah.
one thing they think about a lot is failure. And they're really, really scared. And sometimes they're so scared of failure that they don't even want to do anything because they're afraid of that failure.
I
And there's a
understand.
term for that, which is called in Chinese, 躺平族, which means 躺平族, which means lying flat generation. A generation of people who just want to lie there. So would it be possible for you to share some of your experience and stories on this?
Yeah. So before, when I decided I wanted to be a cartoonist, I sent my work to lots of people. I sent my drawings and my stories to a lot of people, and I got rejected. And people said, "No, we don't like your work. No, we don't like your work." For 3 years, I got rejected. Nobody liked my work.
What was their reason?
I think that it wasn't good enough. I think that I didn't find the right thing yet, right? So I was trying to create a newspaper cartoon, and nobody liked that. All of the other cartoonists on the page, they could draw a little bit better than me. So I had to figure out a new style, a new way to work. So I think that's really important in life, is that when you run into those challenges, that you find another way.
Oh, I see.
But what I really needed to do was something different. I could still do a cartoon, but put it in a book. So I created this diary, right, which is like it's written by a boy. So like a journal or diary. Do you have these in the far, far future?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was my secret weapon, was finding a different way to put my cartoons into a book. And that's when somebody said, "Hey, I like what you've done." And I think that sometimes you have to push through failure to get to success.
Hold on, you said 3 years?
3 years.
That's a really long time.
It is a really long time. Yeah, but sometimes, like if you want to be an artist, if you want to be a writer, if you want to be a lot of different things, sometimes people will say no for a long time before they say yes.
But what if during those 3 years you just don't want to do it anymore?
Yeah, I think that there were days when I was like a person in the lying flat generation, because it's hard to always have the energy to keep fighting for what you want. And so sometimes I did that. I played too many video games, or I watched too much TV, but then I would get myself up and I would go to work, and that's why I've had success as a writer.
I think a lot of people are told to follow their dreams.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have any dreams.
Yeah.
So what do if you want to be somebody
Yeah.
and you're told just follow your dream, but you don't know what your dream is?
I think that you do know what your dream is, right? Because your dream is a thing that you're interested in. Let's say you're interested in comics. Maybe you want to be a cartoonist, or you're interested in playing video games. Maybe you want to be a game designer or a game tester, or you're interested in singing. Maybe you want to be a singer. So that thing that you're interested in as a kid could become a career. It could be what you do for the rest of your life, what people pay you to do. And that's the real dream, is to do the thing that you love doing for the rest of your life.
But what if your parents say, no, you're not supposed to, you can't play video games or, you know, have a career in video games?
Yeah, well, people do. And there are all sorts of different dreams. And life changes a lot. Like, the way that I grew up is very different from the way that my parents grew up. But it's really important for parents to encourage their kids to understand what their dreams are.
Before you started doing the newspaper strip and these books, I hear that you studied something completely different.
Yeah, I went to school and I had a full scholarship, which means that somebody else was paying for my school, which is a big deal, right? And it was actually the military, the US military was paying for my school. But then I realized that my destiny wasn't to go into the military, it was to become a cartoonist, which was really different. And I think at first my parents felt a little bit disappointed, because parents sometimes they have an idea for their kid, like they might want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. And my parents wanted me to go into the military. And then it just wasn't a right fit for me. It's not the right fit for everybody, right? The right fit for me was to become a cartoonist. And now my parents are cheering me on. They're my biggest fans because they realize I had to go a different way. And I think every parent really, what they really want is for their child to be happy and to find the thing that makes them happy. And let me talk to you about reading, for example, is that my kids, when they started reading books, I wanted them to read books that made them really smart, books about science and things like that, history. But they were interested in reading about other things like Pokemon characters or sports. And so you know what I did? I bought my one son books about Pokemon, right? Every book and magazine about Pokemon characters. I bought my other son books about sports. And both of them learned to love to read books, and then they moved on to bigger and better things. One of my sons became a really good athlete because he loved reading stories about sports. So as a parent, it was my job to make sure that my kids' interests were being fueled and that they could read about things that they were interested in. I think it's really important that we listen to our kids and see what they're really interested in, because if we go with that flow, it will lead them to more and more curiosity about their world. And I think that's really important.
I heard that in 2024, people don't read books anymore. And yet here you are writing books, promoting books. Yeah, I heard you even have a bookstore.
That's right.
So are you just, you know, a relic of the past, or do you have a plan here?
I think that everybody loves to have a good book. Like, feel how this feels in your hands. It's really special. When you have a special book that changes your life, that you really treasure, it's really special. It's something that you hold on to forever. And it's not the same as something on a screen. You know, like I could read this on, we have something called iPads and phones and things like that. I could read something on a screen. It's not as special as holding something in your hand. So I think it's really important that creators and authors create really good books that people can hold on to, especially kids. Like, I think when they get a picture book with really big pictures, they can feel the pages, they can turn each page. And when you're finished with a book, when you close that cover like this, you know what it makes you do? It makes you say, where's the next book? Because you feel like you've accomplished something. So I think books are very, very special, and I hope they still exist even in the far, far future.
I hope so too. Thank you so much for giving me this time to talk to a real life Earth human.
Wow, well thank you. I've never talked to somebody from outer space, so this was cool for me too.
I have to go back to my ship now.
Okay.
But I was gonna go to a bookstore
Yeah.
on my way back and pick up some 2024 books.
Cool.
Do you have any book recommendations for me?
Well, of course, I recommend my own books. And then there are lots of manga comics. If you read, there's a lot of manga here, which is kind of like books that are full of comic stories. Right here in Taiwan. And there are a bunch of books by a guy named Dong Lin, who I met him the other day. He's a very, very talented creator, so look for his books.
Okay, Dong Lin.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jeff Earth Human from 2024.
Thank you very much. It was great to meet you.
It was great to
Teacup.
meet you. I'm gonna go back to my ship now.
All right, hope to see you one day in the future.
I hope to see you there.
All right.